For nearly 2 decades, Britain looked unstoppable. Low inflation, rising incomes, a strong pound. On paper, everything worked. Then 2007 happened. Almost overnight, the illusion collapsed. The pound lost nearly 30% of its value. The economy plunged into its deepest recession in generations. And the final bill? An estimated 1.8 trillion pounds, around 26,000 pounds for every single person in the UK. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The crash didn't just damage Britain, it exposed something that had been breaking the country for years. If you are serious about understanding why wages stalled, why homes became unaffordable, and why the UK feels permanently stuck, watch until the end. This isn't history, this is your present. The Golden Age illusion. Before the crash, the City of London was sold as Britain's salvation. Docklands transformed from abandoned warehouses into a glittering global finance hub. Capital poured in from every corner of the world. The best graduates chased the biggest bonuses. Britain, we were told, had found its modern economic engine. And on the surface, it worked. In 1980, Britain's financial assets were about 250% of GDP. By 2022, they had exploded to over 1,000% of GDP, roughly 27 trillion pounds. Finance looked like success, but beneath it, something else was quietly disappearing. Industry, manufacturing shrank, investment weakened, and Britain slowly became brilliant at trading money while forgetting how to build things. When success becomes a curse, history offers a warning. Countries rich in oil, diamonds, or minerals often end up poorer, not richer. Economists call it the resource curse. Britain fell into a modern version of it, a finance curse. As global money flooded into London, it pushed up the value of the pound. That made British manufacturing less competitive overnight. Exports became expensive. Factories closed. Jobs vanished. When the crash came and the pound collapsed, the damage was already done. The rest of the economy was too weak to respond. Finance hadn't just grown. It had crowded everything else out, from building businesses to chasing paper. A century ago, around 80% of bank lending went to real businesses, factories, equipment, innovation. Today, less than 4% goes to manufacturing. Instead, money chased faster returns, property, assets, speculation. Mortgage lending exploded after financial deregulation in the 1970s. House prices didn't just rise, they detached from reality. As prices soared, the solution wasn't higher wages, it was bigger mortgages. Debt replaced growth, and a generation was locked out of home ownership. An IMF study later confirmed it. Finance boosts growth until there's too much of it. Once private credit exceeds about 90% of GDP, it starts to slow the economy. By the crash, Britain was at 150%. The talent drain. Nobody talks about. We're often told London subsidizes the rest of the country. And yes, the city pays a huge share of taxes, but here's the hidden cost. High finance salaries don't just attract money, they attract people. If you're a top graduate, why become an engineer when the city pays double? Why cure diseases when hedge funds reward speculation? One academic study put it bluntly. People who might once have become scientists or innovators now dream of becoming traders. Imagine a football team where everyone wants to be the striker, earning 500,000 pounds a week. No defenders, no midfield. That's Britain's economy, and it leaks goals. Heads they win, tails you pay. When the 2008 crash hit, London wasn't just nearby, it was central. Complex financial products, stamped safe by rating agencies, collapsed. Banks failed across the world. And when the bets went wrong, taxpayers paid. Banks were bailed out. Austerity followed. Public services were cut, but bonuses survived. Finance became too big to fail and powerful enough to shape the rules meant to control it. Even now, post-crisis regulations are being quietly rolled back. When risk is private but losses are public, something is deeply broken. Dirty money and invisible losses. London isn't just a magnet for global capital, it's a magnet for dirty money. For years, oligarchs and elites poured billions into UK property, hiding wealth in plain sight. At the same time, London became the hub of a global tax haven network. Money didn't just arrive, it passed through. British-linked offshore havens help corporations and the wealthy shift profits away from tax. The IMF estimates this costs governments $500 billion globally every year, with around $80 billion linked to UK territories alone. Google famously routed UK profits through Ireland, the Netherlands, and the Cayman Islands. And who made it possible? London's accountants, London's lawyers, London's financial system. The question isn't whether money moves, it's whether it creates real value. Can Britain live with big finance? Here's the hard truth. Britain still depends on the city. The UK runs a persistent trade deficit. Financial services are one of the few sectors delivering a surplus. £78 billion in recent years. Around 1 million people work in finance. Nearly 10% of government tax revenue comes from it. Manufacturing won't magically return to the 1970s. Energy costs are high. Global competition is fierce. Finance is now Britain's comparative advantage. But that doesn't mean Britain has to accept the worst version of it. A different choice. The question isn't finance or no finance. It's what kind of finance. One that cleans up offshore tax havens. One that rewards long-term investment, not short-term bonuses. One that funds businesses, skills, and productivity, not just asset bubbles. One that spreads opportunity beyond a single square mile in London. Finance helped make Britain rich. But it doesn't have to keep Britain poor. So is a dominant city a blessing or a curse? And can Britain finally learn to live with big finance without being owned by it? If you want to understand who's really buying up Britain, from private equity to foreign investors, watch the next video. Like if this made you rethink the economy. Subscribe if you care about Britain's future. Because this story isn't over, and the choices made next will decide whether the next generation thrives or just survives.